Hi, I'm Jared Falk, and today I'm going to show you how I tune my snare drum. Now, I say show you how I tune my snare drum rather than say teach you how to tune a snare drum, because I believe what we do here, the sound that we get out of our drum, it's so subjective. Some people will love the sound of my snare, some people will hate the sound of my snare. Just look at all the YouTube comments, you know. Some people love the sound of my drum, some people say they don't sound very good at all, and that's fine. Everyone has a different palette, everyone has a different sound in their mind, and they think things should sound a certain way, and that's totally cool. That's how we should be as drummers. So, with that said, I'm just gonna basically change my batter head on my snare drum, and I'm gonna show you exactly how I do that, all right? So I start obviously with a drum key. I'm just gonna put these sticks down on the ground here. And I'm gonna take off the top head, all right? And so what I do is I don't necessarily crank all these all the way loose, all the tension rods all the way loose. I just go around the drum and do like a half or quarter turn on each one. I just don't want to loosen it all the way here and then warp the rim or do anything to damage the drum. Very expensive drum. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue to loosen these until they become loose enough that I can actually just continue to loosen them with my fingers. All right, now that they are all loose enough with the drum key, I'm just gonna put this down and I'm gonna continue to take the tension rods right out of the lug casings completely, all right? I'm not actually gonna pull out the tension rods, I'm gonna leave them sitting in there. All right, now that all the tension rods are off, I'm just gonna remove the rim from the drum, okay? I'm just going to put this down here and try and leave the tension rods in there. You might as well. And you got the old head right here. I'm just going to take off the muffling that I did have on it. I'm actually putting on a different type of drum head. All right, and then I'm just going to chuck this out of the way. I'm just going to quickly wipe the shell of the drum. Sometimes I have a cloth when I do this, but I just want to make sure that there's no debris or dust on the edge of the drum there. Now that I got my head, selected my head, I'm just gonna go ahead and place it on the drum. Now, I'm always a little bit OCD. I like the Evans at the top, right in the middle, in between the snare strainer, okay? And I like to keep it as even as possible, okay? Put the head on there, grab my rim. Now you can, doing this, it's always a good time to polish your drums and stuff too. For the sake of time, I'm not gonna sit here and polish my drums. I just wanna quickly show you guys how I do this. Then what I do is, you got the tension rods. I just put them all in a little bit. Okay, so now what I do is I'm just gonna put these all finger tight, okay? So basically what I mean by that is as tight as I can go with just turning the tension rods with my fingers, okay? All right, now that I've done that, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do something that they call seating the drum head. And that is where I just take my fist, I put it in the middle of the drum head, and I just press down. Now, I could probably put all my weight on this, okay? I'm actually just gonna stand up to it. And now I'm doing this on my snare stand. You may want to take it off your snare stand, just put it on the floor. And we're basically just stretching it out. Just like a guitar player would stretch out their guitar strings, we're gonna stretch out the drum head. Okay, and then I'm gonna turn them again with my hands. Try and tighten them up a little more. All right, now that we got that done, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start to tighten with my drum key. And I'm just gonna turn like half or quarter turn. And I'm gonna go across, okay? So I'm gonna start here and then go across, then I'm gonna move over here, turn, there. Okay, so normally I tune up my drum a little bit more. I don't like to have a really low, flat sounding drum, although some of you guys might want that. You don't have to even go as tight as I'm going here, okay? So once I've got that, I've got all the tension rods tight, and I've been trying to keep it as even as possible. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna tap beside each tension rod, and I'm going to listen to the tone. And then I'm going to try and match them all, okay? Match all the tensions. Now there are things that you can use to do this. There's something called a Tama tension watch, and it's a little thing where you actually put by the tension rod and it measures the tension of the drum head right here. And so then you can put it by this tension rod, tighten this, and make them all even. Just kind of like a tire pressure gauge on your car or something like that. I prefer to not use that tool. I just like to, if it sounds good, then it's great. I don't necessarily want to use a tool like that, although if you guys really, really want to, go ahead, because you can probably get something that's more consistent. If you find a sound you really, really like, you can always go back to that tension. There's also other torque keys available that will only, as soon as you turn it and it becomes a certain, it's more difficult to turn, it'll actually stop you and it'll say, okay, that's as tight as you want to go, because that's how you've set the torque key. But I'm old school, I just go with this, and it always works for me. So now I'm just gonna, like I said, listen to the tone beside each tension rod. Okay, so I'm hearing that this one is a little bit lower, so I'm just going to bring it up a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to do this one over here. Go across. Those sound pretty good to me. And if you always do it the same way I did it, hand tightening, then quarter, half turn each one, it's going to be pretty even, and it's not going to take you that long to change a snare head. Okay, so I'm hearing that this one is a little bit lower. Let me go ahead and turn it up. Still hearing it's a little bit lower. Okay, sounds better, but I'm going to come back to it because I want to make sure that these around here are similar tensions as well. Turn this up a little bit. Okay, now we're getting closer. So now what I like to do is I like to put it in and actually just the whole way around the drum, just do like a half turn. So that for me, I'm just gonna hear how it sounds with the snare wires on. Okay, I think that sounds really good for starters. I'm actually gonna go a little bit tighter though. I'm just gonna go all the way around again. Now that they're all tuned pretty tight, it's not gonna affect the drum in a bad way, just to, not do the star pattern or anything like that. Let's hear how it sounds. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn it over and I'm gonna show you guys the kind of tension I tune the reso side to. Okay, now generally you get a snare side head. With Evans it's called a hazy head. This is called a snare side 300 hazy. Now I don't change this one near as much as I do the batter side. I change it maybe once or twice a year, and that's about it. I don't find it has a huge effect on the sound. Some people might disagree with me, and that's totally cool. So I just don't change it that often. So what I do here is actually a tip I learned from Mike McCalco. He puts a stick under there so then we can properly adjust the tension on each tension rod. Okay? So just throw a stick under the wires, neat little trick of the trade, and then just go around. I don't find it because you're not hitting it and hitting the rim, it doesn't actually go out of tune a lot, and DW makes such great drums. So I actually don't need to do a lot. But now let's talk about the relation in between the reso, or the batter side, and the reso side, all right? Now again, for me, this is something that I just do by ear. I don't necessarily say the reso side always needs to be higher, or the reso side always needs to be lower, or anything like that. It's all just to do with, does the snare drum sound good? Do I like the way it sounds? And in this case, I like the way it sounds. What I'm hearing is this could go a little bit higher for me, especially because I felt when I hit this, the batter side of the drum, it sounded great, but I'd like to just play around with it and see how big of a difference it makes if I actually turn this up a little bit. Just gonna go around the drum. All right, so there we go. That's what I do there. It's not a lot. You know, you guys are probably thinking, wow, I thought there was more to it. But not for me, there isn't. Not so. Now, let's hear how it sounds. I think it sounds amazing. It has the perfect amount of snare wires kind of buzzing afterwards. It has the perfect tone for me. It's not too high, it's not too low. I think it's great tension, it feels good. And yeah, again, that's one thing I liked about these drum heads, is that they just tune so easily. It's actually really, really hard to tune them badly and make my drums sound horrible. So I hope that helped you guys. If you have any questions on this topic, please just leave them below, all right? I'm always checking the questions, and I might film a follow-up video, or I might just go in the comments and answer your questions. So if you do have any questions, please don't be shy. I'm here, I'm pretty much online every day, so I'm more than happy to help you. I love to talk drums. So thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.